Does God want there to be a church in the future? I believe the answer is a clear and resounding yes. All over the country, however, churches of all traditions are facing questions like those. Questions that arise from uncertainty about the future. Because we're all experiencing change in a post-pandemic, post-prosperity, post-Christian or post-Christendom world. And change propels us, whether we like it or not, into the future. In this diocese, clergy, vestries and congregations have their own questions about change and the future, and I hear many of them. Where will the people come from to do the jobs we need to do, to be part of our community and our congregation, to be the church of tomorrow? Where will the money come from to pay for the clergy ministry that we have, to pay for the upkeep of our buildings, to pay for the needs to address climate change, to pay for our outreach into our community? How will we keep going as we age together and as the future becomes mistier and foggier? Well, these are natural concerns. But there are other questions we could start to ask ourselves instead. Not, does the church in this place have a future? But, does the future of this place have a church? And what will it be like? Not, when, on what date in the next 5 to 10 years will this church simply close if we change nothing today? But, what do we need to change today for the church still to be here in 5 to 10 years' time, whatever it will be like? There are many possible answers to these questions, and every congregation has to address them for itself, and so does every diocese, because every place is different. But the answers include things like congregations more actively supporting each other in linked charges and area councils, charges with many resources, perhaps of people or of money, being willing to share those with charges that have fewer resources. Full-time clergy overseeing several congregations instead of being our priest and our chaplain to our own congregation, with trained and authorized local lay ministry, or moving from a costly building that we simply cannot maintain, let alone adapt, to address the climate emergency, in order to worship elsewhere, in a building shared with another denomination, maybe, in a secular building in our community, or if there are now fewer of us, in someone's home. Thinking the unthinkable, I can see it written on many faces. The kind of imaginative thinking this calls for is not easy and is not always welcome. We'd rather things carried on as they are. But only rarely is business as usual going to be the answer to any of our questions. The scale, for instance, of the actions needed to achieve net zero, which we were introduced to by Robert this morning in the action plan, shows that none of us is immune from change, and not only climate change. In other words, as branches of the vine, this is the time of pruning, of preparing the vine of our diocese and congregations for the new growth and its fruit that is waiting to come. 5 to 10 year planning gets us to ask, what do we need to change today for the church to be here in 5 to 10 years' time? It doesn't have to be complicated as a process. In fact, it should be kept simple. Where are we now? We need to ask honestly and openly. Where are we going? We have to ask without stating the impossible or simply dreaming dreams. And how will we get there? We have to ask realistically and yet faithfully. 5 to 10 year planning helps us to determine priorities, because we cannot do everything we would want to do, especially with the use of limited resources. When we have priorities, we can decide the steps along the way that will enable us to journey as one diocese and one congregation, sharing what we have, like a vine sharing the sap that grows the fruit. The work of this synod today is our first step, the first of many. Now let us consider what. And for that I'm handing over to Brendan Grimley, the convener of our administration board, and Graham Taylor, our dean.